All right, awesome. So yeah, we are going to talk about the digital copyright updates that happened recently. And as you already know, I work for the Free Software Foundation Europe. And I will first introduce a little bit, actually, no. Okay. I have to introduce first our office. So this is our office. We are an NGO that empowers users to control technology, and we believe that happens through free and open source software. We do that through various of projects. One of them, my colleague Alex is going to talk about afterwards, about public money and public code. And we have a lot of volunteers around Europe working with us. I'm going to talk about copyright, and I'm going to give about a little bit of background of it before we start about the updates. So the copyright, the last time it was updated was in 2001. And for that reason, it was really outdated. So a lot of companies from the entertainment industry mainly, and from the publishing industry, were pressing and lobbying for changes and for updates. They wanted internet platforms to be regulated, such as Google, YouTube, Facebook, because they were suffering from withdrawal of user traffic because of the way that the above-mentioned designed their platforms. So they started lobbying. I will just use my helper here. So they started lobbying, and originally the European Commission came up with a draft which was intending to regulate platforms, not to regulate software and code. But in the end, they actually turned out to have exactly this, because simply because they introduced a liability and upload filters. Upload filters means that everything you're going to upload on the internet, for example, if you're going to upload a video on YouTube, YouTube is going to use an automatic filter that is going to tell you you are allowed or you're not allowed based on copyright infringement. This also means that while you are programming and you want to make a git push, you may get an error message because you can be violating copyright, and you wouldn't even know which one, what kind of copyright you're violating. So we launched the Safe Code Share campaign together with Open Europe, and in this campaign we were asking for removal of upload filter or putting open source exclusion. So what we end up having is this. I will explain. I will explain the processes of making policy. So the European Commission, we have three actors. The European Commission creates the draft text. The draft text is the meal in the pot. Then you have the European Council, which is your country governments. And then you have over there the European Parliament, which you voted for a few weeks ago, or a month ago, something like that. They all work together to cook the meal, which is the policy. And when the European Commission drafts the first text initially, they gave it to your governments and to the elected people from the Parliament. They discuss internally, and then they all go together in a trialogue and try to discuss and negotiate the meal in the pot. And I deliberately chose that kind of picture because it is really, every policy is made in this way. You have a bunch of people with different backgrounds from different countries trying to make something together. Why do I hear my breathing? Do I hear my breathing, or do you also hear my breathing? Oh, okay. Okay, so can I get another microphone that just... Okay, like this? No, like this? Can I just get a hand mic? Thanks. How about this? Okay, cool. Sorry. So, where was I? Yeah, about the meal in the pot, yeah. So, yes, the thing is that after having this meal in this pot, we decided that we have to launch the campaign and we have to also start participating in events, raising awareness, start meeting people from the Commission and the European Council, meaning the bottle and the candle, and start talking to them about how the text they ended up having is touching upon software and code writing, even though they didn't intend to. So we did that together with multiple organizations, Open Forum, as I mentioned. We launched together the Safe Code Share campaign. And we were lobbying about having the upload filters down and having the open source exception. We actually succeeded in having the open source exception. And I will tell you a little story about that. Because of our campaign and because of the external communication we have, as I mentioned earlier, we also have a strong and wide community of supporters. And those people have work experience in different places, also big companies. And some of them, because they follow our activities, they actually saw what we are calling for, what are the threats, and they decided to communicate internally in their companies, in the companies they work. Hence, the policy departments in their companies decided to also lobby and join our efforts in including open source as an exception to the rules. And this is how we actually got it finally. This picture is supposed to show how smaller entities can join efforts and achieve something bigger. What is happening next is actually a little bit in the snowstorm, because we don't know. There is a 2-year of implementation where countries and governments need to implement the copyright directive into their own realities. That basically means that they are going to interpret the text however they like, and also the local courts are going to have to interpret the text. And that means we need to monitor what is going to happen. And I think we all can join in the efforts. And how we can do that? Well, we can push the bus in the direction we would like to if we actually monitor what they actually are doing, what the governments and the courts are doing in reading the text, interpreting and implementing them. If you communicate that with us, if you see what is happening on your local stage, and how is this affecting your work, you can contact us. We can exchange either experience. We can also interfere. We can connect you with other people that are having similar problems. We can basically give you hints of what's next or what you can do next. And that's it from me. If you would like to have questions, yeah, I think I managed to shorten my talk.
Yeah, that was short and sweet. Thank you very much. Okay. So shall we get a couple of questions? And just a reminder, so we do Q&A now, there's one more presentation, and then we're going to do the raffle. So if you're still in the room when we do the raffle, you might win a prize. So yes, let's get a couple of questions.
Do you have any?
Ilian, you always have, okay, there's a question over there.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much for your very interesting and colorful presentation. My name is Dragomira Shuleva, and I'm on behalf of Together Ltd here. For me, it's very interesting how your team came to the idea of this project, because the idea is always the start. Was it somebody's creation or it was a team approach?
Which project?
The one you presented just. the initiative? How do you...
Oh, the Safe Code Share initiative? Yeah, because we noticed we were following, so one of the things we are doing, as I mentioned, we work with a lot of projects to promote the use of free software, but what we also do to help free software be implemented and be used is also follow policy activities. So we follow what is going on in the lawmaking scenes, especially in on the European Union level. And we just noticed what the Commission published as a draft. And we were alerted by that. So we started the campaign because we think that, as I mentioned, as I showed in the slide with the boats, the more smaller entities do something, the bigger the chance that we actually have a result. And lobbying is very difficult actually, because to achieve really small changes, you need to put a lot of effort and you need to put a lot of resources. And this is something quite challenging. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I hope I answered.
Thank you.
Another question, or not really?
Okay, there's one at the back over there.
What's the status of the software patents in Europe? As far as I know, there are no such thing. And what's the interaction between the US and Europe legal system in that
What
topic?
is the connection between US
interaction between US software patents and European ones?
Well, this is a completely different field. Actually, it's very different from copyright. They are trade agreements when it comes to patents, and they are different trade agreements between European Union and various other actors aside from US, but US as well. And all of this is regulated there. But this has nothing to do with the copyright directive. The copyright directive is only for Europe. It's only for European Union countries, and it's just that. Of course, after implementation, there will be synchronization, but this is just with third parties, with third countries, but this is different thing.
So copyright and patent has nothing to do with each other, right?
Patent is a different thing. They are related, of course, but it's a different domain.
Okay.
It's a different domain of intellectual property, let's just say.
So speaking of copyright, so actually there is somebody who copyrighted Satoshi Nakamoto's Bitcoin paper. And now there's a second person saying, well, you know what, actually I'm going to copyright it. So now there's multiple people saying, I'm going to copyright Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper that was written 10 years ago. So that's an interesting topic to follow if you're into copyright.
Originally, copyright is well, in different languages it makes a difference actually, the translation of copyright. So in Bulgarian it's translated into, the word is authorship right, but it doesn't have to be necessarily related to the author. And when it comes to copywriting somebody else's work, in Europe at least, the one who created it, the copyright goes by default. So it's the creator's right, so to speak.
So Satoshi Nakamoto, as the creator, he owns that right in Europe by default.
If this is clear, yes. So what I'm saying is like the creator can only sign off their right, but their right is a given. Okay. So it's by default.
Interesting. Well, thank you very much.